Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday morning to you all. Hope you guys are feeling fantastic out there this morning and having a great start to your day, great start to your week. Maybe you folks have the day off, not sure, but whatever you got going on, as always, I hope you're having an awesome start to your day. Got you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for today. A couple things to talk about, and we'll try to figure it out for you folks. We'll, at the very end of the video, kind of give you some updated information on this storm system coming in the next 48 hours that will create a winter storm for portions of the country, some severe weather for others. And then tonight we'll get much more detailed again with it. Hopefully we'll be in range. Well, we will be in range of some short range cams or short range model guidance here, like the NAM, the HRRR model. And we'll get to really start to get a feel of the evolution of this severe weather event that will get cranked up across like Louisiana and then surrounding bordering states, sections of each state for sure. So we'll see how this severe weather ends up being. Hopefully it doesn't unfold to anything big, but I said that with the last severe weather event last Thursday, and didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal, and it really took not just me, but a lot of people by surprise. It ended up being a tornado outbreak for portions of some southern states. So let's hope that's not the case with this severe weather event, but we'll definitely figure it out for you folks, that's for sure. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. It goes a long way. It's pretty slow right now, so we're going to keep pumping out the content and keeping you guys updated. I know most of my viewers view from the southeast. I would say a larger percentage than anybody else views from the southeast. I know a lot of people are wondering about snow. Trust me, I wanted to snow too, guys, but I can tell you the pattern just doesn't support cold or snow. But there's a couple systems I'm watching about 8, 9, 10 days out that's going to get very close for certain folks in the South, and not the South, but just maybe the Mid-South, maybe the Ohio Valley. But we'll figure it out. I still think we're going to get some kind of chance. We always get one chance. Maybe not for everybody, for certain folks, we always get one chance. We never hardly ever get just completely shut out unless you live along the I-20 corridor. Those people can get shut out for sure. But normally if you're, another 100, 200 miles up, you normally get one shot. So we always look for that one shot at least. So I know this time last year we were breaking down. We just got through a winter storm. We were already eyeing our next winter storm, which brought that exciting 2 inches of snow to my house that, for you folks who've been viewing since last winter, saw my excitement with that. We got 2.5 inches of snow, broke the ugly streak of snowless winters that almost went 8 years long here in Columbia, South Carolina. Can't talk right this morning. But anyways, almost 3 minutes into an intro. Let's get rolling this morning. If you folks got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments so I can pray over it and others can do so too. So check out this little spin that's starting to leave the picture here, starting to get deeper out into the North Atlantic. This is very close to becoming a subtropical low pressure or storm. I don't think it does, but it's going to have an opportunity to get a warm core very briefly before it enters substantially lower sea surface temperatures, but it's not really going to be a story, just an interesting feature out here in the Atlantic, and this continues to kind of throw moisture back westward, so Maine, you will definitely get the bulk of your icy precipitation today. It'll be an all-out ice storm, icing event. Been ongoing already over the last 24 hours. There's a pretty huge band of snow kind of pivoting through areas of Massachusetts this morning. We'll talk about that. And then if you look at this little spin right here, this will make its way into Iowa. This will promote a very small window for some strong storms in eastern Iowa today. And we'll see how that unfolds. A little bit of winter weather falling in areas of the north central U.S. And then we await our next system that will quickly begin to enter the west coast today. And then we'll begin to put a lot of winter weather across right in the middle of the country, the middle of the lower 48, and then some severe weather for areas of the south. We look at watches and warnings as of right now. Winter storm watches up for the middle of the country. A lot of areas in Nebraska. This includes Omaha and places like that, and all these communities, North Platte. Winter storm watches. I know I had somebody ask about North Platte. Hopefully I said that right. And it's looking like y'all are going to at least get a good 5 to 8 inches of snow, I would say. But this could be a big snow event for several counties in far northwest Kansas also, and then northeast Colorado is going to get hit pretty good with this. We'll see and watch if these winter storm watches get expanded more east. I think that the heaviest snow is going to fall in this area, but we'll talk about that a little bit more tonight and very briefly at the end of the video. Winter storm warnings up for areas of Maine, winter weather advisories up also. extended a little bit further down to Mass here, but not hard freeze, but freeze warnings ongoing. Pretty cold this morning across the southeast, but we warm up very quickly, very quickly. And speaking of that severe weather threat, if you look at the Storm Prediction Center, I mean, they don't even have a marginal risk up. So, they're thinking it's not going to be a big deal, and it probably won't be. But I think there will be a 1 to 2 hour window of some severe weather opportunity in far eastern Iowa, maybe far northwestern Illinois, and then far southwestern Wisconsin. And this little area right here, we'll watch today, but not a big deal. It's definitely downtrended in the last 24 hours. Talk about the southeast really briefly. Really, it's going to be quiet, but as we're getting throughout the morning hours, areas of showers will begin to develop in northern Mississippi, Memphis, Tennessee, for example, western Tennessee, some showers, and all throughout Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and this will continue. And then we'll watch a little bit later tonight as some heavier showers and maybe even some thunderstorms begin to develop around 8 to 10 p.m. tonight, especially in eastern areas of Arkansas. They will eventually drift into northern sections of Mississippi, western Tennessee, western Kentucky. It seems like I've been mentioning that part of the country like constantly over the last several weeks. But anyways, these will continue to drift through overnight. I mean, this is 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. You got moderate to heavy rain moving, maybe a rumble of thunder moving through the entire state of Tennessee, Kentucky, just plain old rain in West Virginia. Rain showers for Mississippi, Alabama down here, and these will continue and move across the southern Alps. This will be all rain for all the southern Appalachian Mountains here, so this will probably wipe out a lot of snow cover, as this will be just good old-fashioned rain right in the middle of January, so totally different than what we were seeing this time last year. But rain moving across all the mountains as we're waking up tomorrow. Around this time tomorrow, it'll be raining across the mountains, and rain from Birmingham to probably some showers in Atlanta. This will move through Greenville, Spartanburg, Charlotte, probably into tomorrow morning. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Rain between now and tomorrow morning, probably as much as maybe a half inch to 3/4 of an inch in areas of Kentucky, southern Ohio, and Indiana. A 1/4 inch to a half inch in Tennessee, and then just lower amounts as you get into northern Alabama, northern Mississippi. But you'll definitely get enough rain in these areas of the country. Well, you'll go to sleep tonight and it might be dry, and you'll wake up tomorrow and everything will be wet for sure for your Tuesday morning. For the Northeast today, we'll be dealing with some winter weather. In fact, we look at what's going on out of the National Weather Service in Boston. This is a pretty heavy band of sleet or either snow. Certain people are seeing different things out here that'll probably put a coating on many things out here. I think the National Weather Service got it right. I mentioned yesterday that these short-range models were showing a lot of snow for certain areas, but please let me know if you're in Southeast Mass, Rhode Island, heck, even Connecticut, even central to, if you're seeing anything in Western Mass. Let me know how much snow you got on the ground. I'm seeing, 1 to 2 inch totals, kind of widespread on Twitter. But this band could drop a quick inch. It really could. This is some heavy sleet or either snow or either both. So I would love to see how much snow y'all received in this area. I know one band pretty much put whiteout conditions very briefly in Boston, and this is probably doing the same thing as you're waking up this morning. So definitely let me know what you're seeing. I think the National Weather Service certainly got it right. They did not budge on the idea of all these heavy snowfall totals showing up on these models. I'm always going to keep it real with you guys and be genuine, but I kind of was leaning towards some of the models, not saying 6 to 8 inches necessarily, but I was kind of starting to think that maybe certain areas could see half a foot. Maybe somebody has way out here. I haven't heard anything about this area way out here north of Plymouth. Haven't heard anything. Hopefully I said that name right. So let me know what y'all are seeing. I'll be really interested to know. But the rest of the day, the HRRR model, frozen precipitation. I mean, most of this will be sleet and freezing rain for these eastern areas of Maine. And then you'll have rounds of more snow that continue to move in, especially out here in Cape Cod. You guys are going to see more heavy snow a little bit later this morning and later this afternoon, another round. And, it might warm up enough. And I think that's the reason why a lot of this snow has not really accumulated a whole lot, is because very marginal temperatures. For example, I think Boston has struggled to get below freezing overnight. But, it's just one of those things that, sometimes you get heavy enough snow, it doesn't matter well, it does matter what temperature it is, but if the temperatures are in the mid to upper 30s, sometimes it could snow hard enough to drop the temperature. And as soon as the snow begins to lighten up, the temperatures will raise again, and then the melting will start. It'll start melting it all off. I saw that a lot in the mountains. When I went to Gatlinburg, we would have these bursts of snow that would kind of coat everything, and then it would only snow very lightly, and then that little coating of snow that we got would pretty much melt, and it just did not snow consistently heavy enough for it really to add up much in the immediate Gatlinburg area. But anyways, just an all-out icing event for most of Maine. It's just going to be a mixed bag of precipitation in Maine. It's going to be hard to know exactly what's going to fall for your area. It all depends on what the temperatures are well above our heads. Not always at the surface, but well above our heads. But this is going to be a warmer storm for mid-January standards for you folks up here, for sure. But we keep going throughout the afternoons, and then we get into the evening hours, and maybe some rounds of snow will continue to try to pivot into the Boston area, even into Vermont and New Hampshire, really especially New Hampshire. And then as the column begins to cool, maybe this begins to switch back to snow as this system begins to pull away overnight, and then the system lets up, and then we're already waiting and watching another system behind this. Snowfall in Maine today, a few inches of snow is possible. A lot of this is going to be ice, maybe an additional half-inch down in Boston, maybe the very small coastal regions of New Hampshire that you guys have, maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches. But I think a lot of this is going to be, there's going to be a lot of freezing rain today, guys. I mean, Caribou, Maine might see over a 1/4 inch of ice. That is a lot of ice. All the coastal regions of Maine, maybe as much as a 1/4 inch of ice or more. And until you get way down here on the southern coastline, maybe not as much ice. But we're also watching a lot of sleet today. I don't think it's going to sleet this much. You could probably cut these totals by 50 to 60%. But even an inch, inch and a half of sleet, guys, that is a lot of sleet. It takes a long time for an inch and a half of sleet to pile up, especially in marginal temperatures. But a lot of sleet, a lot of freezing rain, snow mixture. It's a nasty combination. It's not like your normal just all snow events that you guys see up here this time of the year, where it's snowing in probably the single digits, the teens. So stay safe up there. South Central U.S., kind of a calm between two storms. It'll be kind of quiet today besides some showers in far eastern areas of Texas and Louisiana that we already mentioned. Outside of that, we're watching our next low pressure as we're getting into tomorrow morning that begins to try to fire off the Rockies, and will do so eventually as we're getting into later tomorrow afternoon. But outside of that, it's a pretty quiet day today across the South Central U.S., and just not a whole lot going on besides this weather right here we already talked about in the southeast frame. North Central U.S., a little bit of a different story. Low pressure kind of firing through, moving through areas of western Iowa. This will create some heavier rain, some areas of heavier cold rain in areas of southern Minnesota and northern areas of Iowa, where you guys saw a lot of ice a couple weeks ago. And then we'll watch this little corridor that opens up here, a warm sector, if you will, but it's not much of one, considering dews are only going to be in the upper 40s to 50s. And we'll watch about, I would say, sometime around 2 to 4 or 5 p.m. this afternoon, an area, maybe some stronger storms that could get going in this section of eastern to northeastern Iowa. And we'll see what these storms do, and they might drift all the way into areas of southwest Wisconsin. Maybe some hail is certainly a possibility, but at the same time, if we back this up, we got winter weather breaking out over areas of central to western areas of Minnesota. Some snow showers also in the eastern Dakotas, and then just north, Minneapolis right into here, just north of Minneapolis. I mean, you're seeing some moderate to heavy snow for sure, and I really think the UP and Michigan will just see, if I back it up all the way to this morning, I think you guys will see a lot of rain, maybe some freezing rain, pockets of freezing rain mixed in, but man, this is going to be all rain for you guys in the middle of January. Very, very odd, but I mean, it just happens. All rain looks like for Michigan, and yeah. I mean, just when you have low pressure cutting right through the Great Lakes cutter, I mean, it brings warm air to all levels of the atmosphere. Therefore, you get rain, rain around the immediate low pressure with cold on all other sides. So, snowfall between now and the next 24 hours, just widespread 1 to 2 inch snowfall totals in areas of the eastern Dakotas. And then a lot of Minnesota, especially north of Minneapolis and west of Minneapolis, will see a little bit of accumulating snow. Northeast Minnesota, maybe 2 to 3 inches of snow is possible if you look at ice today. There will be some icing, a light glaze. Somebody might get as much as 1/10 of an inch of ice, but If I move and look at the upper Midwest, there could be some pockets of heavier freezing rain in northern Wisconsin, and then areas of the western and the central areas of the UP of Michigan could certainly see more so in the way of maybe a tenth to a quarter inch of ice. So it seems like you guys have had a lot of small icing events up here. So more ice expected today. So please be careful for sure. So temperatures today, warm again in Texas. You guys just keep roasting. It just continues to be spring out here. I mean, it might even get into the 70s. It probably will all the way into Oklahoma City or Tulsa today. Continues just to be really nice. But please do not let your guard down in the south central U.S., guys. And I have a reason for that. I really think you guys are going to get some cold air in the future. Just a gut feeling just with some of the things I'm seeing where this cold air is going to drop down. So don't think winter's over. And I think you guys know that. You guys know out there that the weather can get pretty wild and switch from day to day. Everybody in the Carolinas always thinks if you don't like the weather, wait one day. And I always tell people, why don't you go out west? It's a lot more dramatic than it is here. Sure, we get these cold air damming events where it can be in the 60s and 70s one day, and then the next day, it might be in the 40s. But, and that's pretty dramatic. But, out here in the west and the central U.S. and the front range, I mean, it can literally be 80 degrees one day, and the next day it's like 25 in a blizzard. So I think that's a little bit more dramatic than the other one. But in general, temperatures well above average for the South. Even in these areas where you see the 50s in South Carolina and Georgia, I think it'll be more so the 60s. And just, cooler temperatures in the Ohio Valley, but, nothing too bad for this time of the year. We're right smack in the middle of winter. Could be much worse. And then look at this little area, this little tongue of warmer air that tries to get into western Illinois and eastern Iowa right in here that might create a brief severe weather event. But cold in the interior Northeast, probably the coldest areas. And that's about it for the lower 48 today, guys. But if we're looking ahead, looking at the system that can get going over the next 24 to 48 hours, here it goes. Wednesday morning, snowing very heavily in these areas of northeast Colorado, central to western areas of Nebraska, and then areas of far northwest Kansas. We keep this going throughout the day. Midday, a little bit of an icing event might show up here. Right here, ice getting very, very close to Omaha. So we need to watch that because this system has trended a little bit further north, not going to lie. And this definitely is putting like areas like Chicago and all rain. So now you need to watch out for Minneapolis because this is ticked a little bit further north. So this will starting to bring Minneapolis close to a heavy snow event. So this would definitely be maybe some winter storm criteria snow for you guys. This would hit Wisconsin pretty good, Milwaukee to Green Bay now, starting to show a lot more snow. It looks like just, as of now, just good old-fashioned rain for Chicago again. So this will be early Thursday morning. This system continues and moves through, but this looks like a good bit of snow for these areas. If we look at the current snowfall map between now and Thursday morning, it's still snowing in these areas. The storm is not done. It is done for these areas, but I mean, widespread 8 to 12-inch snowfall totals in northeast Colorado. And then these areas in Nebraska right here, North Platte, will get hit hard for my guy who watches out that area. Appreciate you viewing. Probably don't have a ton of viewers out here in the central U.S., but it's always awesome when you folks comment. So I definitely think this is going to be a good winter storm for you guys out there for sure. Omaha is going to get some decent amount of snow out of this. This could trend higher, but it looks like most of the snow is going to miss Chicago. Des Moines will get probably close to a half a foot of snow, I think. But I think that this is going to push north. Watch out, Minneapolis. You need to watch out. I think this could trend north, but we'll see how this goes. We still have the severe weather threat in the same time frame that we have a winter storm up here. Right now, it's just a slight risk, level 2 out of 5. We'll see how this trends. We'll talk more on this tonight when we know a little bit more with these short-range model guidance. That's all I got, guys. Y'all have an awesome day. Appreciate all y'all. Appreciate the continued support and people viewing, even though, right now it's just kind of slow. A lot of people were asking about snow, and trust me, I want to talk about a major winter storm across the southeast. It gets so exciting. It takes up a lot of time, but man, it's just it's fun. It's much more enjoyable than talking about severe weather events in the U.S. I know I got some warm weather fans in here. I know I got severe weather fans. There's a lot of people in the weather community that love severe weather. And I like it. I like going out there and chasing it, but it's very dangerous, right? For you warm weather fans, when you pull for warm weather in January and February, I'm not saying you're deliberately pulling for severe weather, but you also, when you pull for warm weather in this time of the year, you're also you're taking the risk of severe weather also, because it's not normal to get warm weather in January and February. I mean, it feels like February has just been warm for a while, but normally when you get that, that means you're getting sporadic aggressive dips in the jet stream. And when that happens, you have low pressures that are typically cutting like this or like this, and this brings warm, moist air out the Gulf of Mexico, and you create severe weather events in the middle of winter. And sometimes those can be the worst because you don't have as much daylight. They can happen more so at night. So, normally when you beg for warm weather in the winter months, you normally are just asking for severe weather. So that's normally the way it goes. Not always, but normally the way it goes. So that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll talk to y'all this evening, and have a great day.